Do you see the record button? Oh no. Did we miss much?
I don't think so.
Well,
It just
okay.
said it
We're
just
going to
now.
continue.
Yeah.
We're going to continue on.
Okay.
So you were saying that your husband responds defensive and it
Hmm.
comes across as you not trusting him, not trusting the plan. And so that causes conflict in the relationship. So
Yeah.
perhaps a lot of that fear in you comes from that of having not being heard, I guess, of not seeing
Mm,
your point across of what is it that you want. You want stability, you want a plan, you want to know what's coming next. And
hmm.
so, you
Yeah.
know,
It's like we both want good things. He wants to be trusted. I just want to know that, like, I don't even know what I want to know. I just feel so, what do I want to know? Um, yeah, I just want to be heard. I think that's, yeah, like it's not that anything can necessarily be super shifted or like I can't get these certain details. I just think I wanted to look at me and be like, yeah, what you're saying is valid. Yeah, what you're saying is totally true. And like, we don't know those answers yet. And we're going to work
mhm.
on like just some kind of like comfort and like validation. And yeah, it ends up causing more of like a fight. And then I just like shut off and don't really want to go there
Mm.
anymore. And like, and then I have trouble knowing how to communicate with it. So,
So tell me more. What is it that you do when you shut down?
oh man. Um, I just like, if I don't feel like I'm going to be heard in it, I think I just kind of like go inward and it's like
Mm.
I give up, give up the fight. And so instead of trying to like, which I don't want to always be about like, hey, hear me, listen to me. I know that's not great communication. Like we need to be about hearing other people first. Um, but I think in those moments where maybe I don't feel heard and he gets defensive because of what I'm doing, I kind of just retreat inward and yeah, I give up. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, we don't have to talk about this. Like, let's just move on. And yeah,
So when you do that, you're used to dealing with the problems by yourself and you decide, I'll take care of it. I'll worry about it. And you kind of put a wall there that he can't cross until you process it. Is that correct?
yeah, I think so. I think, man, I need to reflect on that for a second. Um, yeah, I think I do try to like do it by myself and then I don't leave much room for like teamwork in it because I don't feel confident in our ability to teamwork. And so it feels easier just to be like, oh, I'll just figure it out. And that's not necessarily a helpful or good thing to do.
Well,
Um,
I'm saying that because one of your strengths is planning and is having um, a schedule and having things like that. So that's what came to my mind. I felt that urgency in you of like, I'll figure it out. I'll do it,
mhm.
with or without you. But at the same time, you realize that that's not the best way to communicate. And I'm wondering, where did you learn that? Where did you learn that you had to figure things out yourself?
um, yeah, been a long part of my story, probably. Um, yeah, it was my family growing up. My
Mm.
parents were a little bit more hands off, probably, than
Mhm.
a lot of parents. They weren't, they were there, um, but they weren't there like emotionally, and they weren't
Mm.
there asking me about, important things or trying to like engage and connect with me. So like from a very young age, I just kind of had to I was like what they call like a latchkey kid where, you kind of are it's like good luck. Here's the keys. Here's a few bucks. Not all the time, but So yeah, definitely had a lot of figuring things out on my own. And that was just it from like a young age. So yeah, junior high, high school, no one was asking me what was really going on. I was told a lot of like what to do and their disappointments in me, but um not asked questions, not supported. Um so yeah, I was just kind of always on my own in those terms. Like I had the basic needs. You know what I mean? Like I can't say like I didn't have everything I like technically needed, but um I had to figure out the real world stuff on my own.
But it was very lonely, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Incredibly lonely. I felt very alone.
I'm wondering if this where you started feeling fear and feeling that you had to be responsible at such a young age for taking care of yourself, for coming home, to making sure you were safe, to making sure that you were feeding yourself. And so I want you to sit for a minute again with the feeling of loneliness. Now that we have touched, that it goes back. Well, was it lonely then? Sit for a minute.
Yeah, I think the loneliness then was I mainly just remember just being like, I may not have had to like fend for myself all the time and things, but it was a lot of that loneliness and that feeling is more associated with like the emotional part of like, oh, I
Mm,
had a really hard day at school today, but my parents are really mad at me. And so I
mm,
don't have anyone to like, or I'm kind of in their way, or I like,
mm,
I didn't perform well enough in something. So they, it's a disappointment. So they don't want to hear about whatever else. And so they didn't have like capacity for me to have really like feelings.
mm.
Um, if I was emotional, it was like, no, don't cry. Like, stop that. Figure out something else. And there were a lot of valid reasons to cry. I felt very dismissed if I had any kind of emotions. So that was the big loneliness for me was not having someone to like cry with or in their arms. It was a lot of like I have vivid memories of like being young and just like crying alone and like hiding that.
So, it wasn't okay that you weren't able to express or get that emotional support growing up.
Yeah.
I feel that sadness inside of me of not having someone to go when I want to cry or I want to complain. Like you said, you had reasons. I would imagine, especially on your own. And so that's not your story anymore. You have a voice and now you are using it. And that's why you like structure and that's why you like planning because you want things to have an outcome. You want to know what you can count on. And so I'm wondering if you can see that connection between your husband and your family. Time away from you puts you in that lonely anxiety state.
Mm.
Think, think,
Wow.
think about that for a minute.
Yeah, I've never thought about that before. That makes a lot of sense. Like yeah, it's like and I think that's the strange thing for me is it's always been such a physical response. Like when he opened the restaurant, I was so angry.
Mm,
And I was like, why am I so mad at him? I knew this
mm.
was gonna be hard. I knew I was gonna be alone a lot. And um yeah, that's just been a feeling that's just been there for a long time. Um yeah, I just like yeah, I'm kind of in awe that like this is a connection being made because I have just it's blowing my mind. I've never thought about it this way. And it totally is connected. I um
You,
think
you,
I
va-
probably have a lot
Go
of
ahead.
work to do there.
Well, you value emotional connection. You truly
Mhm.
do. And not having it or fear of losing it just makes you feel anxious and makes you feel lonely, makes you feel all these, even anger, as you mentioned.
Mm.
And so I want you to tell me how um, did you deal with it the first time around with this feeling when your husband first opened the restaurant?
I feel like I was just like I knew it was there, the anger feeling or the lonely feeling.
Both, whichever you felt the most or at the moment.
I think it was both that I was battling all the time, and I'm trying to think how I dealt with it. I feel like they came up. I need to kind of like revisit the context in my head. It would come up most of the time when I was like on a walk. Like I would go take a walk with our dog at night, and I would just see like my neighbors and people like grilling out or having friends over on a Friday night, or like their little curtains would be open and they'd all be sitting around having dinner together. And like the things that I was like realizing for the first time, oh, I lost this. Like these are the things we've lost with this game. Like we have he has this new venture, this new career. And now I've kind of lost like these special connections and moments with him that like are never going to look the same,
Mm,
exactly the same again. And I feel like I first dealt with it with the anger of like
mhm,
I just feel a lot of resentment towards him. Um and then like the like to combat not feeling lonely, I would feel angry. Um and the loneliness, I think that part I just had to figure out how to be more separate, how to be able to be like we were probably a little bit codependent, like we got married
mhm,
really young, 21 years old, 22 years old, and I had to figure out like how do I exist apart from him? Like we have
mhm.
different goals and different dreams, and like how do we have that and still have a marriage and still be connected? And so I feel like I did a lot of work to figure out who I am independent of him, what I enjoy, and started making other connections and like finding other interests and things like running. I mean, I was running before, but like gardening and
Mm, mhm.
meeting up with new friends, like making new connections. And so I really started like working on, okay, well, what is good? What are the positives? What are ways I can like spend this time um and use it to my advantage. So it was a really a growth thing for me, um, personally, on how to like combat that loneliness in that season.
Well, it sounds like you found some skills there and some alternatives on how to process and deal with the situation at the time. And so, I commend you for that because that took strength and that took recognizing that you were going through bouts of anger and bouts of loneliness and kind of like a cycle. And you learned to figure it out, but now you have children involved. And so now it's different.
Mm.
So let me ask you, uh, what you want to be able to do with this time around? What is it that you want to accomplish?
I think this time around, like you said, is different. It's totally different. Like I don't have the freedom
Mm,
as as much freedom this time around to
mhm,
say, "Hey, buddy, like what you doing? Like come over for a cocktail," or like I'm gonna throw a little party, or like let me join this book club. Like I don't have that margin to fill up that time. So now it looks a lot different. And so I think what I want for this time around is to be able to connect with my husband. But I don't know what that looks like. Maybe like setting like a date night or something, even if it's just like at home. We can't really afford to go out much right now,
mhm.
except to his restaurant. And I just don't like we go there for so many dates, and I'm like,
Mhm,
I need to go somewhere to talk that's not here around your employees.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, like connecting with him, finding time for myself because there's so little of it now. Like I don't have if he's at work, I have no one to trade off with to go like just to go on a run like at 5 o'clock or
mhm.
whatever. And um get a minute away from the kids or away from schoolwork. So yeah, some time to connect with myself and connect with him would be probably my biggest priorities, because I feel like I'm not going to be a great mom if I don't have like at least those two things. Obviously I would love time with friends, but I feel like I'm trying to make that happen as I can, but not as high a priority as like trying to find time with him.
Mm. How would you feel if those things happen?
I think it would feel like kind of like a lifeline, like, okay, I do still have, like, even if it's really, really busy and chaotic, we are still prioritizing each other, and like there's hope here. We'll get out of the season, and I'll, yeah, like just knowing that like there's at least that like two little anchors to hold on to, of like we still have like a couple things that we're like supporting each other, finding time for each other, and it'll get better when we're, you know, if we can keep those things, we can keep building on it whenever the seasons of like
Mhm.
restaurant slows down and he gets in a better rhythm with it.
Right. So if you were able to connect with your husband, quality emotional time, and find time for self-care for yourself, such as having a run, things like that, would really be helpful and would also help address perhaps the feelings of loneliness and anxiety that you are experiencing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. Um, and maybe even like reminding myself of some of the things you brought up in this session of like asking myself when I am really feeling that, like, hey, why am I feeling this so much? Is it this moment right now, or is this because of something else? And like what's true right now in this moment? And trying to like really assess like where the feeling is from and why I have that feeling, because that was really, really helpful.
That is definitely a self-awareness that you have come up with, and it's definitely gonna help you because you can identify it and question it. Is it real? Is it not real? Is it um, something that in my mind is just telling me that it is, or is it really true that you are truly lonely? And so that's a great strategy that you just came up with. And so let me ask you, what if you were to create the ideal situation of connecting with your husband and finding time with yourself? How do you think you can make that happen now?
I think right now, utilizing the time we have now before things shift, because they will here in the next few weeks. So maybe kind of taking advantage of the next month. And while we have a tiny bit of time, squeezing in some dates and just saying, like, hey, let's at least try for one a week or two a week if we can, just to like get some, fill up our tank a little bit before things get really busy. So I think that would be one thing I'd really like. And then for myself, I think just finding time to, I go to the gym once a week, but like continuing to do that and make
Mhm.
it there and make that a priority of like, no, this is like my 1 hour a week. I really need it to leave the house to go do that. So I think those two things would be really ideal.
You know, I just noticed that when you talked about the gym, you lit up. And so definitely self-care is very important to you. You feel better when you go to the gym because you're
Yeah.
taking care of your needs. You're taking care of your physical body.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
come, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I'm just seconding what you said. Like, yeah, it feels really good, and it's like, I don't know, it just is like I feel like a release for me of like all the anxiety and like feelings that are balled up. I feel like I can. It's like such a physical, like, oh, I can kind of push these out and like let some things go. And it really, I feel like, helps me regulate throughout the week.
That's fantastic to hear. So let me ask you this thing. On the one hand, you are excited for your husband. He gets
Mhm.
a second chance to open a second restaurant. That's a great feat because first time restaurants don't usually make it. And so now he's on the second restaurant. So on the one side, that's fantastic. But on the other side, you have that fear of that loneliness and of that anxiety of that comes with it. Tell me what we talked about the scenario of maybe the balancing it. Tell me what would be the worst fear or worst case scenario of that conflicting situation.
I think worst case scenario would just be that the cost of this outweighs the benefits. Like he gains all these great things, I mean, not all these great things. Like it, I think the worst case would be that I'm just like, I know, don't see him. I'm doing bedtime every night by myself. I'm not finding time to like actually reconnect with him. We're ships passing in the night, and we're just constantly in a state of survival. And that I'm really good at worst case scenario, that it just like drives a wedge that like, I don't know, causes like more division instead of more unity when we're already in like a stressful season.
So the venture is exciting, but at the same time, it could break or have things fall apart, which is the
Yeah.
worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yet, as you have seen the first time around, you've done it. You're here. You're still
Mm-hmm.
together. You still like spending time with each other, and you have two kids.
Yeah.
And so I
Didn't
want
know
you to
that would come.
consider that. That I asked you
Yeah.
for the worst case scenario so that you can see that that really is not the reality. It can, but it's what you make it intentionally. You know,
Mm,
you're great at
yeah.
having a plan. You're great at knowing and anticipating. And so that's awesome
Mm,
that that fear that you sometimes feel is not necessarily a true thought or a real thought. It's something that perhaps the feeling is fine. You're feeling it, but it doesn't necessarily need to overtake you, if that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like there is that possibility, but like I've done this already and it's been really hard. And like yeah, like you said, like we endured it and we had a lot of great things come after it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So many good things. I know. I would love to be able to anticipate good things.
Absolutely.
So like I've got to really shift a lot to like get there.
And and you mentioned quality time with your husband and, you know, just constant emotional communication with him and connection with him so that you are proactive in keeping that relationship alive, keeping that connection alive. Because, the whole reason you're here is because you guys decided to be together and go on this venture together. And so I'm excited for what is to come, even with the, anxiety and the um, loneliness and even bouts of anger as you think about this. There is so many positive things that to look forward to. How would your life be different if it is successful and your kids are doing well and you have time for school and you manage and you balance all these things? How would you feel?
I mean, that would feel awesome to just be like, oh, we did it again. Like we can do hard things and we can, yeah, like we can take them on. We can take them on as a unit. We can be stronger because of it. We can set a good example for our kids because of it. Um, yeah, I want to believe like in that success. and in that hope and in that like goodness of like so much good can happen from this instead of sitting in like the worst case and feeling all those negative emotions all the time about it. Like those just aren't helpful in the season when like it's gonna be what it is. So
Correct.
yeah.
So now let's think about some activities or things you can do when you come to these crossroads, when you do bump into that loneliness or that anxiety or that stress. Let's think about some potential things that you can actually um, do and work on, perhaps before we see each other next session, that are doable because now you have two little ones, right? You said
Yeah.
they're 3 and 1, two and 1 or 3 and 1?
3 and 1.
Three
Yeah.
and one. Okay, 3 and 1.
Yeah.
So let's think.
Mm. So I think something important with this thought process is I am usually feeling those feelings when I am alone. And it's like when I get the call of like, hey, I've got to stay late, not coming home to help with the kids.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. Like, so those are the moments where I feel it. And then it really like comes out whenever maybe like he does get home from work and we're able to talk and like, my worst fears are coming true. Um, so I think like knowing that like I'll probably be it happens often like if I'm like around my kids. Um I don't know, something I've found helpful before with anxiety in general is like a grounding
Mhm.
technique or grounding exercise of like
Mhm.
if I feel really disconnected, at least like what are things I see, four things I hear, smell, touch, whatever, like getting in touch with your senses. And like that is helpful. And I feel like that is a practical thing I could do
Mhm.
sitting with my kids. I think maybe like awareness, like something I teach my kids that we learned from a Bluey episode. Have you ever seen that TV
Mhm.
show?
So cute.
It's so cute. And there's an episode where the dad's like, where's the feeling? Like, where
Mm.
is it in your body? And like, take it and like throw it. And I'm like, I could probably do some somatic stuff that I like do with my children, or it's just like, where is it? Do I notice it? And like, take some breaths with it and just like at least noticing it in my body and acknowledging it instead of like
Mhm.
letting myself go down rabbit holes, and then I can come back to it once I'm done with my responsibilities with the kids, like being able to like circumnavigate those feelings and notice them. I think just even those two things would be helpful of just like acknowledging the feelings and
Mhm.
not that's probably a lot why I feel so disconnected from myself.
Mhm.
It's like not just being present with it.
You also mentioned walks. Is that something you could do with the kids, or is it too much to manage
No,
with
I can
them?
do it with the kids. We've it's right now it's really hot. I live in Mississippi.
Oh.
It Our heat index today was 105.
Ooh.
So but I did take a walk today with my like while the other one was napping,
Mhm.
me and the oldest one walks the block. And so
Mm.
I can do that and have like my monitor on and like, get outside for a minute with her and because she doesn't nap. So yeah, that's a good point. Like we could do, especially if my husband says like, hey, I can't come home tonight, I think a good thing would be like, okay, girls, we're gonna go take a walk together, like right now.
Mhm.
And just
Mhm.
like it could be right before dinner, right
Mhm.
after dinner, but like going around the block with them or just up and down the street a couple times and letting them play outside for a minute and giving myself a minute to like settle down of like, okay, I am gonna be alone tonight. I am gonna have to do this again tonight by myself, but I can do it. I've done it before. It's not his fault.
Right.
We took this on together. And yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna write that down.
Yes, great. And what about to connect with your husband? Tell me one way you can connect.
Um, I think something we've been trying to do, but maybe haven't prioritized it much, is like a Wednesday date night.
Mhm.
Um, this week we're doing Thursday, but we're taking the kids with us, so I don't know if that counts. Um, I'm not sure if it counts, but um, yeah, I think sticking to like the right now while we can Wednesday nights of like it doesn't have to be dinner out with the babysitter at home, but we can like pour a glass of wine and play a game together and do something that connects us. It's not like watching TV together. We're great at
Right.
watching TV together. We need to do something. Yeah. So Wednesday nights.
Well, that sounds like a plan. And so what I recommend or would like you to do is to practice these things, especially when you start feeling anxious or you start feeling angry or lonely, do the somatic activities that you mentioned. You've done them before and you had success with them. So that will help you as well and try, the grounding. Grounding is so important. It goes again, it's connected to your emotions and connecting to how you're feeling and actually creating mindfulness of what's around you and what smells, what you see, what you feel. All that is helpful because it's going to bring you back. Remember, we talked about how sometimes what we're feeling may overtake us and may not be exactly what's the reality. At the minute, you may feel that, but all these things will bring you back to a sense of peace, to a sense of grounding you back to, to yourself and to what you're able of doing as well. And I love the Wednesday nights, which you're trying to keep kids with or without kids. And the important part is just keeping that connection with your husband because that is truly so important for you. And remember, you know, just because he's not there with you doesn't mean that he doesn't love you, doesn't want to be with your family. It's just the situation. It's just what is happening right now. And so I want to thank you for this session. And I wanted to ask you, what is it that you would like to discuss next time that we meet?
I think maybe kind of coming back to starting maybe with like the fear and anxiety and like how to manage that when it comes up. And it's just so deep seated in me, like talking through that.
Sounds great. In fact, I would like you to report to me when next time we meet, how those skills and coping mechanisms that we just discussed work for you so we can further explore that anxiety that really seems to be in your life and that for sure we're going to find ways to explore and deal with it and find solutions for you that could be applicable and useful in your daily life. Do you have any other questions for me?
Not right now. No, that all sounds great.
Well, then, Claire, it was a pleasure having you in my session, and I look forward to next time. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Hey,
All
that
right.
felt like a such a real counseling session. Halfway through, I was like, did you do this for a job before you started this? Um, how far are you into the program?
Oh, this is my second year, so I started.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
like, you have
yeah.
some
You're
skills
you're gonna
already.
get there.
And I was like, oh, wow. Like this is my first skills class. I'm a year into the program, but I'm like, this is my sixth or seventh week of ever doing a skill. I've had no clients, nothing. So I was like, gosh, you really are on it. Yeah, I would say feedback, like you made me feel so understood and you were so facilitated with your questions and you just yeah, like I feel like your skills were sharp and your observations were very astute. Um yeah, you really just made me feel connected to myself. I felt very connected to you. Your presence was very professional and welcoming at the same time of like, oh, I can trust this person. Like you just seemed
Mhm.
like you knew what you were doing and weren't uncomfortable. Um I don't think there was a moment where I didn't feel like it was accurate or facilitative. I think there was like one tiny moment where you were about to start talking and I was about to start talking
Mhm.
at the same time, but like
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
stepped back and gave me the floor. So that wasn't necessarily a break. Um, but yeah, it felt very connecting and I feel like yeah, you went through the store or the process so well that by the time we got to restoring, I did feel like, oh yeah, we can step into that and like switch over to the positives and switch over to the other parts. And I really don't want to go next.
You're gonna be fine. Uh, I think I think you did great because you really got into your story, so that's helpful. So I'm gonna try to do the same for you because it
Okay.
helps.
It
Anything
does. Yeah.
else?
I don't think so. Claudia,
Okay.
like, gosh, well done. Yeah.
All
I
right.
think you're going to get all the points.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about that. All right, I'm gonna stop recording and then we're gonna